3 were killed by a roadside bomb while on patrol in snatched Land Rovers, another dying in a Challenger tank. Just 4 out of the 179 British service personnel who died during the war in Iraq. Now their families have won the right to sue the Ministry of Defence for negligence and claim damages under human rights legislation after the Supreme Court said the MoD owed a duty of care to its soldiers. The Defence Secretary says the ruling could cause difficulties for future operations. Jane Dodge has this report.
It's a long time since Sue Smith had anything to smile about. Her son, Private Philip Hewitt, died in Iraq in 2005. He was in a lightly armoured snatched Land Rover when a roadside bomb exploded. His mother has been pursuing a case of negligence under the European Convention on Human Rights ever since. Today, the highest court in the land overruled the Ministry of Defence's attempt to stop her, dismissing its claim it had no duty of care because Private Hewitt was not in the UK's jurisdiction when he died.
They're saying that these people, they're not liable for anything, so they could send them out in a double-decker bus with a pea shooter and that would suffice because they're untouchable. Well, now they're not. They've got to equip them properly.
Corporal Stephen Albert was one of 2 soldiers killed by so-called friendly fire in Iraq. His family and the families of 2 soldiers injured when their Challenger tank was fired on have also been given the green light to sue the MoD for negligence under British law. The Supreme Court dismissed an appeal by the MoD that under combat immunity it wasn't liable for events on the battlefield. This isn't just about a victory for a handful of army families.
Dozens of others may follow in their footsteps now and sue for negligence. And there are big implications for the Ministry of Defence in terms of how it trains and equips its troops.
The judgment does have implications on the procurement policy that the MoD will have to properly scrutinise in terms of properly equipping the soldiers.
In terms of what?
In terms of resourcing and allocating the right equipment for members of their armed forces to be able to properly defend themselves in any war.
Sending troops into battle is never an easy option. Now it's got that bit harder. Immunity from prosecution is no longer a given. Those who are ultimately accountable believe it'll prevent the military from doing their job properly.
Commanders in the field, instead of taking the decisions that are right in the circumstances they find themselves, in the best interests of their men, in the best interests of delivering the military effect they're seeking to deliver, will be worrying all the time about what a court 3, 4, 5, 10 years later is going to say when it analyses those decisions.
The families celebrating today still have a long way to go. It could be months, if not years, before their cases get to trial, and the MoD will be fighting them every step of the way.
Jane Dodge.